the first song I wrote for the new record was called Heartbreak Queen, and it was like a transition song from Ghost Radio to where we want to go with this new album. And we wanted this new record to be a little bit more raw, a little bit more live sounding, something we can go and play on stage and it sounds, like the record. We just put our heads down for 6 months and recorded these demos and just mashed out these songs.
This is Rob Ruckus.
Hey, this is Kate Clover.
Hey guys, it's Nick Collins here from The Effect and Better Strangers.
Hi, my name is Madeline Rose.
Hey, it's Ben McKelvey.
It's Tim Howard here from Mike and the Mechanics.
Hello, I'm Amanda Lehman.
I'm Billy Harvey.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Casey Sampson from the band Twist Stop.
Hey, it's Tony from Fastball.
Hello, everybody. My name is Isaiah Mitchell.
Hey guys, it's Matt here from the White Lakes.
You're listening to Almost Famous Magazine.
Come join us for this interview. Check it out, Almost Famous Magazine.
Hey everyone, welcome back to The Hang right here on the Almost Famous Magazine YouTube channel. Thank you to everyone who subscribed, rang the bell, shared our channel, turned people onto the podcast. We really appreciate it, and we're happy you're here with us today. As you may know, we're thrilled to be covering Punk Rock Bowling 2025. This is going to be a huge year, 25th anniversary in 2025 for Punk Rock Bowling. Leading up to Punk Rock Bowling weekend, we're hanging with a number of the bands performing at the festival. So make sure you subscribe as we feature many of the great bands appearing at Punk Rock Bowling. Also, super important, if you haven't made your plans to get out there yet, what are you waiting for? When you're at Punk Rock Bowling, please check out Punk Rock Saves Lives. They've got a booth on site. They are at the club shows. They are doing amazing things to support the punk community across the country. And there's a good chance you can end up winning some exclusive one-of-a-kind autographs from artists performing at Punk Rock Bowling. Today, I am thrilled to be hanging with Simon Short and Drew Baker of the Jackknives. I've been trying to get them on this podcast for a long time. This is super special. They're performing a club show at Substance on Saturday, May 24th, along with H2O, Nothington, and Hot Water Music. So get your club show tickets. I'm telling you, there are already sold-out club shows. The tickets are going fast. So Simon and Drew, welcome to The Hang.
So Scott, how are you?
Thanks for having us, man.
Absolutely. I'm glad we're able to finally pull this off. We try to start with giving people an introduction to the artists we're talking to. So let's take a step back into the Wayback Time Machine. How did the Jackknives come to be, and what's the history been like up to now?
I'll take that one. The Jackknives started about 5 years ago, and it was just me in a studio apartment in Hawaii, just playing music, and I lived there at the time, just playing music, recording songs, and just for fun. I was in bands when I was younger, with varying levels of success, but I've always been in bands, and it never leaves you. So one day in Hawaii, I hadn't played for a while. I went to Best Buy, bought some recording equipment, bought a guitar, and just started, writing songs and playing again, and shared them with some friends who said, "Oh, these are good," and then made a little Instagram profile, and it was at that time it was called Cy Short and the Jackknives, but there were no Jackknives. It was just me. I was lying. But so I just recorded it, and I started putting it out, and just on this little Instagram thing, and it got a little bit of just strangers from around the world hit me out. Hey, it's a good song, blah blah blah. So that was encouraging, and from that kind of time, I always told myself, like, if we're putting stuff out and it's getting traction and people like it, we'll keep going. We'll take it to the next level. So that continued for a little bit, and I ended up moving back to California, and decided I didn't like the name Cy Short and the Jackknives, because I just didn't like my own name. I wanted it to be a band, so I had to find some real members, and then I knew some people, and they knew some people, and fast forward, here we are a couple years later with Drew, Brian, and the Dragon, and myself. It's a great place to be in this band. It's a real positive band. We're best friends, and we have a good time.
How did adding the other guys from this, what was in essence a solo project, help evolve the music? and what did they bring that kind of helped take it to the level that you want, that next level as a cohesive group?
That is, the answer to that question is in the last year or so is really, there's been a huge difference. There was another iteration of the Jackknives when I first moved to California. Dragon was in it, I was in it. We had a Hugo on drums and another bass player, Gerardo. And it was like a year, and we were kind of half taking it seriously and still getting a little bit of traction. And then things happened, and the two guys left, and Drew and Brian came in, and it was like a whole new band. Drew and Brian are best friends since they were kids. Brian's our bass player, and and I mean, I'll let you take it, Drew. They write together, they rehearse together, and they play.
We've been best friends since high school, and I think it was like fall of 23. Brian goes, "Oh, I just started kind of jamming with this band. You got to check them out." And, most of the time when your friends start bands, you're like, "Okay, cool, can't wait to hear it." And I happened to put it on when I was driving. I was like, "Holy shit!" I was like, "I actually really like these guys. I genuinely really like these songs." And then, within the matter of days, Brian was like, "Well, actually, their drummer just left. They are looking for a drummer. You want to come and jam?" I was like, "Fuck yeah." And then within, I don't know, 35, 40 minutes of jamming, Simon and Ferris, the Dragon, were like, "Do you want to join?" I was like, "Fuck yes." Absolutely. So, and it's been a whirlwind ever since.
Into a real band at that moment, where we had really talented musicians and songwriters coming together, and now it's a super collaborative effort when we write and when we rehearse and structure songs. It's completely different to how it started, where everything was me, and I'm not a good bass player or drummer or guitarist for that matter, but I get by. And so now it's like, we have this really great creative input from four corners of the band, and it's our music shows it, I think, now.
So let me ask you, because that interests me from the standpoint of when you started to write the original songs. What are the influences that sent you in the direction artistically that you've gone in, right? Because there's like a blend of rock and punk, and it feels like amalgamation of a few different things. Then you bring in the band, and it evolves even further. Like, take me through that where you started sound wise and where you've ended up now.
Yeah. I think there's two types of songwriter. I think or band frontman, whatever you want to call it. There's kind of the category I'd put myself in, which is like a cathartic songwriter. I'm writing to express something, and then there's a songwriter who's kind of more extroverted, and they're writing these songs to perform, right? So our band is definitely we're communicating something, and we have to write and be creative to get it out of us, I think, at least for me. So I've always been a fan of melody and storytelling. It didn't have to be punk rock. I think I'm a big fan of the Beatles. I'm a fan of Bruce Springsteen. But I love punk rock too, the Clash and the Ramones and everyone. And so that's my initial. If I'm writing a song, it's always about melody and some kind of storytelling about whatever I'm trying to say at that moment. And then, so I think I have more of a classic. I'm a fan of those kind of songwriters and storytellers. And punk rock is perfect for that. I grew up listening to all the punk rock bands. And then Drew comes in, and Brian. We have similar tastes, but we also have different kind of avenues that we go down, because punk rock especially there's so many subgenres of punk rock, right? You can like so many different bands, and we've got slightly different tastes, but also we have the core bands that we're all fans of, like Alkaline Trio and all that. So we're heavily influenced by all that.
Yeah, I was going to say from a rhythmic standpoint, especially with like this new record, like from drumming, like I don't know, I've been very influenced by like Fugazi and like hot water music and like, just that kind of funky, locked in, pocket playing, like, yeah. So that played a big part into this new record as well, I think.
And Drew, who are some of the musicians that have made an impact on your playing and how you kind of translate what they've given you into what you do in your style?
Brendan from Fugazi was a huge influence drumming wise. I mean, just like anything I listen to or watch is crazy. Honestly, George from Hot Water Music and Bouncing Souls was also another big influence coming up. Big John Theodore from like the early Mars Volta days. That was super sick. And like after high school, I got really into drum and bass and jungle, like electronic music, and so I mean, yeah, that was also like a big influence. And then kind of some like jazzier stuff like Tortoise, like from Chicago with like dual drummers, and I don't know, it was just kind of like picking bits and pieces from like all that and kind of, I don't know, want to say developing my own style, but then again, I'm also just emulating a lot of these heroes that I've spent years and years listening to. So,
yeah, absolutely. So you had in 2044 your album Ghost Radio came out, but now we're in the spring of 25, and you've already got a new album coming out, Into the Night. That's a pretty quick turnaround on albums, and a pretty quick evolution, right? So tell me about Into the Night, and what can I expect as someone who would hear it for the first time?
Yeah, we got an offer or an opportunity pretty quickly after we put Ghost Radio out to go and record in Jersey with Pete from the Bouncing Souls. So I think the initial date they were talking about was a couple months after, and we were like, well, we can write pretty quick, but not that quickly, So we put it off to September. It gave us, I think, 6 months to write a record, and then 6 days to record it once we got there into Asbury Park. But and we're pretty prolific rehearsing and writing band, I think, once we're in the zone. So we just started, and it was right after Ghost Radio. The first song I wrote for the new record was called Heartbreak Queen, and it was like a transition song from Ghost Radio to where we want to go with this new album. And we wanted this new record to be a little bit more raw, a little bit more live sounding, something we can go and play on stage, and it sounds, like the record. We just put our heads down for 6 months and recorded these demos and just mashed out these songs. And it goes like back and forth a lot between us. We'll finish I'll record something at my studio, and then I'll send the demo to Drew in his studio, and he'll write a new drum track and send it back, or slow it down, or speed it up or whatever. Usually speed it up. But
yeah. I don't think I've slowed down one.
And we ended up writing this record. It was a really collaborative record to write. It's the first time I've ever co-written songs lyrically with anyone, which was really cool to do. So Brian brought a couple of songs that he wrote to the table, and we developed those into something as a team, really. And we recorded 10 songs in 6 days in Bouncing Souls, the rehearsal space there in Jersey. And the record just came out. I think it's the best record we've done. It's got a theme to it. It just flows from start to finish. And it's just loud guitars and drums and good melodies, which is, I think, what we're trying to put out.
And just sonically and like production value, like Pete just killed it. Like, I mean, aside from just being a rad dude and like easy to work with, he's got such a great ear, and like I all four of us are just so fucking stoked with how it came out. Like, just tonally mixing, and like all like the bits of feedback he had here and there when we were doing parts, and yeah, it was a pretty incredible 6 days. Kind of a blur, but it was pretty fucking incredible. So,
Well, that was going to be the next question. What was it like working with Pete? But you answered already. So that's
yeah.
What a great opportunity.
I mean, it's so cool. Like, again, such a rad dude, and like the studio itself just like has such a rad vibe and characteristics to it. You're maybe a quarter mile from the shore. I'm tracking drums in the living room, but the mixing room's down in the basement, and I mean, that was rad. And then halfway through the week when we had gotten the bulk of the stuff done, we popped over to Anchors Away, and 3 of the 4 of us got tattoos with Brian, the bass player from Bouncing Souls as well, which was fucking rad. And yeah, the whole thing was just really, not to reuse the same word, but fucking incredible.
No, what a great experience. What a great experience. So for anyone new to the band, right? Are there, and it doesn't have to be a single that you ever put out. I mean, it could be, but like for someone new to the band who's gonna try and get that first taste that draws them in, what are 1 or 2 songs that you feel are like the best 2 to start with to get people attached to the music?
I would say you have to catch us live and watch us play a song called "Are You Alright" live. There's a couple of recorded versions of that song on Ghost Radio, and I think on the early record too. But they're not. We're going to re-record that song again someday because they don't do it justice. When we play it live, I think that is the quintessential Jackknives song. It was probably the first song ever written for the Jackknives too, which is funny, but it's just a vibe about it. I would say catch us live and watch that song, and it's usually what we close the set with. And if you're listening to the records, I don't know. I think Punk Rock Heart, the last single we put out, was pretty jackknifey. Yeah, it's just a fast punk rock song.
Well, I mean, so here's the big question. If I'm coming to your show in Vegas, will that song be the one you close with? Is it gonna be on the set list?
100%. 100%. I mean, personally, it's one of my favorite songs to listen to, but it's also probably my number 1 favorite to play. So, and like Simon said, like the old recordings are good, but they were done also before Brian and I had joined the band. So like the way we kind of play it a little bit funkier now, like live, is it changes it slightly. Just there's a lot of fucking raw energy to it, and
Awesome. I'm gonna have to make sure I get to them. So how did your appearance at Punk Rock Bowling come about for this year?
That's a good question, man. I don't know, but we did apply to play Punk Rock Bowling many months ago, maybe even a year ago, and figured, well, not this year. And but then we got an offer a couple months back to play, and said, "Do you want to play?" Of course we do. I mean, I think that's the best punk. There's a lot of cool punk festivals, DIY ones coming up, Camp Pennsylvania, all that, but Punk Rock Bowling is still the one. It's a great weekend, and this year's lineup is amazing. So, yeah, we got this offer for a club show, and we didn't know who was going to be on the bill or anything. And then it just came out on Instagram one morning, a flyer that with hot water music and nothing to Indonesia. So we were pretty stoked with that.
Yeah. Well, that was a sincere holy shit moment.
Yeah. It was a good one. And then I texted Pete from the Souls after that because I figured he had something to do with it. He's a good mentor and friend of ours now, and he texted me back like, "No, nothing to do with me, dude." So we got on there somehow, but yeah, we'll be there.
What a great memory to have that it just came out of nowhere, totally unexpected. What a great surprise!
Yeah. And honestly, it's just to be like part of the 25th anniversary is such a fucking honor in itself. So this is like all those things where I think all of our jaws collectively hit the floor simultaneously.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's gonna be a mental show as well. I mean, it's hot water music in a club. I think that club's like 1,000 capacity. It's usually a nightclub or something. So that's gonna be a hot, sweaty evening. But it's gonna be great.
Absolutely, it looks like a great bill to be on. You mentioned yeah, the 25th anniversary. What are you guys going to be able to take in some of punk rock bowling while you're there? Or are you going to do the fly in fly out type of thing?
Well, we're sort of like it's sort of like the beginning of like a 10, 11 show run with Bouncing Souls and H2O and the Adolescents. So I sadly I don't think we'll really have the time to get to really take in more than our one show that we're playing. I'm sure we'll all be there that night to the end, but because I think like the next day we got to drive at least halfway to Denver because I think we played Denver on that Monday night, the 26th. So sadly, yeah, we won't be able to take in nearly as much as we'd like to, but looking
It is a
forward
shame,
to that
man,
show.
because
Yeah.
it's a great lineup. Maybe if we get there early enough. Landscapers are here.
Sorry,
If
yeah,
we get
fucking car ride.
if we get there early enough, we might try and see something. But yeah, it's you know how it is. We're driving in, sound check, play a show, and that show's really late. Hot Water don't go until like 1 in the morning or something. So, and we're gonna watch that obviously.
Yeah, it's gonna be a late night. Well, hopefully you at least get a chance to get a slice of evil pie or hit the double down for a shot of ass juice. I mean, either way, you got to take in Vegas,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, we played Double Down last year. Actually, it's a unique experience. I love it.
Okay, so how many shots of ass juice did you guys go through before you couldn't play anymore?
I don't know if I did. Somebody did. I bet Dragon did.
I didn't do any. Several PBRs, but none of the attitude.
The thing that gets me is at Christmas time they do ass nog, and like ass juice is that's like the evil Knievel of drinks. You're just like you're taking your life in your own hands. The combination of all those liquors and something with milk just does not. That scares the hell out of me. So
no, dude, that's not for me.
I'm brave, but I'm not that brave. So you said you've got a run of shows coming up after punk rock. What can fans expect for the rest of the year?
There's a lot we got. So yeah, we're heading out on tour in May with the Souls and H2O and the Adolescents. That run is basically the whole Western US and British Columbia. So there's 9, 10 shows there, I think. Then we got our record release shows. We got one in Asbury Park, New Jersey, which is almost sold out, and then one in Costa Mesa, Orange County, in July, and then we have a small run, Chicago and Philly, which is our own shows, and then we're finishing that 3-month stretch with a big festival which just went on sale today called the Hoochie in Rochester, New York, August 8th, 9th. We're playing this Saturday, Whiskey and Rock and Roll Music Festival, and Joan Jett and the Blackhearts are headlining that. So that's for me. I'm so stoked on that one.
Well, as a guy who grew up in Rochester, New York, I saw that and I'm like, that is so damn cool. So
yeah.
When you're in, have you either of you been to Rochester before?
No.
Okay. I'm going to make one culinary suggestion that even Jim Gaffigan would tell you to do.
Yes,
Get
please.
yourself a garbage plate. Ask anybody to put you in the direction of getting yourself a garbage plate. If you like hamburgers, hots, macaroni and cheese, and hot sauce, it's the Rochester's known for the garbage plate. So get that in that. And if you like Jenny beer, Genesee Cream Ale and Genesee beer is their local beer. So it sounds like you're gonna have a great rest of the year. I'm super excited for you and looking forward to seeing you guys in Vegas. A couple of things that we do here on the Hang, kind of this to put really great words out there and great ideas. One of which is we'd like to know that, like, not that we're bucket list people here, but if you had a dream and you could get into a studio with one artist for one day, who would it be and why, so that you could be creative with that person? Si?
Okay, I'm gonna just go big on this, and I'm just gonna say Bruce Springsteen. I saw, like I said, I'm a fan of songwriters, and he's one of the best to me. Storytelling, can paint a picture. He's known for crossing over into punk rock now and again. He's performed with Social Distortion and Dropkick Murphys and some other bands. So he's not shy about getting into some louder guitarists. And we know a few people in Jersey now, and they told us that if you go to this diner on a certain day of the week, dude, you just might see him. So, but yeah, Springsteen is probably a songwriting hero of mine. That I would love to work with, I guess, but it's a long way off.
Well, when you're in Jersey, there's always a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy. So.
Yeah, everybody is a friend of Bruce.
So, Drew, how about you?
Well, that's a good question. Musically, honestly, I think fucking Flea would be the shit. Just from a drum and bass perspective. So that would be dope. I think Mike Watt also would be pretty fucking sick. So.
All right. Well, we've put it out there, and crazier things have happened. Who people see our episodes and they got the connection because they know a guy who knows a guy, and you never know what happens next. So that's super cool. And Sai, I totally get it. I'm a huge Springsteen fan myself. Everybody, you need to go out and support the Jackknives. There is no way that 32 cents from Spotify is enough to get the gas in the tank to get them to Las Vegas or through this tour. So you've got an opportunity. Buy their albums, support them financially through purchasing merch, purchasing tickets to shows, getting a ticket to the club show in Las Vegas at Punk Rock Bowling, checking them out in Denver, and any of those other great shows and festivals they're doing this year. All the links you'll need to do that are going to be down below, so check it out. We try to close these out with sharing some music, kind of like we're just sitting around having a beer. Or your favorite cocktail. You may not be a beer drinker. You may just only like ass juice. I don't know. We'll find out in Vegas. But, Drew, who are a couple of artists that you're listening to these days that you're really you enjoy jamming out with or jamming out on, just hearing their music? You think it's super creative. Who are a couple that you're listening to and what do you like about
them? Honestly, last year or two, probably 2 years, Hot Mulligan out of Michigan are just the shit and phenomenal live show. So, and then locally, Southern California, there's a band we're friends with, we play with every now and then, or actually we're playing with at our Costa Mesa record release party. Empired rad. So, highly recommend checking them out. So, and then actually speaking of bands that we're playing with that I love, like Plain Dead out of New York. Local New York band that are playing our Asbury Park album release party are fucking dope too. So, and just the nicest fucking guys. So
I'm gonna have to check them out. Sai, what are you jamming out to?
I got two for you. One is a more not mainstream, but the artist or band, I guess, called Phosphorescent. This my wife turned me onto that one, and it's kind of low key. Sit in the vinyl room, drink a whiskey kind of music, and then so check out Phosphorescent, especially a song called "Song for Zula." It's really good. And then in terms of more indie, independent, younger bands, I would say the Young Hearts out of London, England, or Kent, I think. They're label mates for us on Premier Records, but they are really, really great songwriters and storytellers in the Springsteen kind of way, but they're a punk band like us. So, the Young Hearts and Phosphorescent, I would say, my recs for this Friday.
Awesome. I'm gonna have to check them out, and everybody, you're gonna have to check out the Jackknives because I know you're making your arrangements to get to Punk Rock Bowling right now. And when you're there, please check out Punk Rock Saves Lives. I can't tell you enough about the good things that they do for the punk community across the country. Rob and Tina just go above and beyond to make sure that punk fans are able to, enjoy shows, get through life, and have an opportunity to help one another. So I think it's really great that we're working with them out at Punk Rock Bowling on some fundraising, as well as the support they're giving. So please check them out when you're there. Guys, this has been tremendous. I'm so excited that we got the chance to finally get together. I look all the success in the world for you guys on this album, and I look forward to catching you guys at Punk Rock Bowling. Thanks so much,
Scott. Oh, totally. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Thanks everybody for joining us, and we'll see you on our next episode.